Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another random video. Now, it's been an interesting week for wrestling. We got a blizzard up the north that's pretty much shut down everything past New Jersey, and with that, not only has Raw been canceled because of this blizzard, but SmackDown's been canceled as well. So it's been an interesting week for the WWE. Now, I know I made a bunch of comments on the CBR forums as well as my Facebook that I would do a live reaction video to the Royal Rumble, which was about 3 hours of content. Unfortunately, I lost all of it because the data got corrupted and it got deleted. So yeah, but some guys wanted me like, hey Shintiger, when are you gonna do we need you to do a video. We need you to do a reaction video just to get your thoughts. Okay, so really, I'm kind of glad that all my content was lost, because I did make some comments about the Royal Rumble immediately after it happened, and upon reflecting on it and talking to a lot of people and getting their opinions and really soaking it in, those kind of comments were not fair to certain people. So I'm kind of glad that it's gone. So what do I need to talk about? Well, after talking to a lot of people, talking to my friend Mattis Lionheart, talking to my cohort Hairball, hey guys, talking to various people on the CBR forums, and of course watching the Spoony one on who just dropped his new Wrestle for the Royal Rumble, I felt that was finally time for me to talk about my thoughts and opinions about this year's Royal Rumble. Now, there are only two things I want to talk about the Royal Rumble event itself: is the Royal Rumble match and the Triple Threat title match. Now, let's just get this out of the way. The Triple Threat title match between Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, and John Cena was fucking amazing. I can honestly say it's probably one of the best title matches that the Royal Rumble has ever seen. And that's saying a lot. It was a fantastic match, and all three guys put their asses on the line for it. And I know I may joke about John Cena and his 5 moves of doom, but the guy has more moves in his arsenal than people care to admit. I don't say I don't like I don't like his position in the company, and I don't like his character, but I respect the man's work ethic and in-ring ability, because when he turns it on, he turns it on. Seth Rollins really stepped it up. I mean, if this didn't show you that Seth Rollins was ready for the main event scene, then you must be blind as shit. And of course, Brock Lesnar being Brock Lesnared his way through all of them to prove that once again that Brock Lesnar is an absolute animal. Now, my friend Mattis Lionheart of the Absolution Network has a difference of opinion about the end of the match. And I'll get to that, because here's what I am about opinions and such. I can respect another person's opinion, because that's where I am in my life, where I can respect another person's opinion and thoughts, as long as it's intelligently done and from a place of logic and reason. Because if you can intelligently present your opinion about something, then I can respect that. I mean, me and Mattis Lionheart do not agree on a lot of stuff. We don't agree on CM Punk, and we damn sure don't agree on Brock Lesnar. But the way he presents his argument is in such a way that I can respect it. He's like, I don't like, his opinion on the end of the match was that they were sucking Brock Lesnar's cock too much. And he presented it. I can't say what he said because, well, he's the best Jew in the world. But I can respect his opinion. I respect his opinion immensely. So we had a disagreement of opinion, but I can at least respect him for it. Now, a couple of months ago, when I did a reaction to CM Punk's podcast for the Art of Wrestling, some guy in the comment section was like, "Oh, CM Punk's a quitter. CM Punk should never quit. He walked out. He ain't even that good." And I asked him, "So what exactly are your reasons for thinking that CM Punk was lying?" Like, "He's a quitter. He quit because he's a quitter." And I was like, "So apparently you didn't hear the part where he had to quit because he had a fucking staph infection, a menstrual staph infection that, if left that was misdiagnosed, and that could have killed him." Or you missed the part where he was not a contracted performer, and thus he could leave any time that he wanted to. So I pretty much blocked his ass because he didn't present his argument was pretty much everyone else's lame ass argument about CM Punk being that he's a quitter, even though he presented them with the facts, and that was just it. Now, Mattis Lionheart, he presented his opinion on CM Punk. We may not agree with it, but he presented it in such an intelligent way that I can respect it. Like, hey, if I was in your position, I'd feel the exact same way. Same with the Spoonie one. I've had disagreements and misopinions about him. He doesn't like Spider-Man 2, the Amazing Spider-Man 2. He hates it. I personally like it, but the way he explained it, his tangents, he made it so I can understand where he's coming from. So I can't hate him for hating on something like that, because he explained it in such a way that is like, if I was in the same position, I'd feel the same way. Now, going into Brock Lesnar, he doesn't like Brock Lesnar because he's sucking his cock. And he presented why he doesn't. Why I like it is because he's Brock Lesnar. He is being portrayed as a beast of a man. This is not a man, and this is not a man we're talking about. This is a beast in the shape of a man. This is the ultimate destroyer, the last boss, the one-man crime spree, the walking genocide, nature's only perfect predator. He is being booked as this beater of men. So they have to suck his cock. And that's why I like his matches. Even though he doesn't wrestle that much, I appreciate when he does actually wrestle, because when Brock Lesnar gets into the ring, he's not going to here to wrestle. He's here to hurt people. I mean, he's like, his attitude is like, you have the audacity to try to step in the ring with me? Don't you know who the fuck I am? I'm Brock Lesnar. I kill motherfuckers for a living. I broke the COO's arm, and I'm still with the company. I ended the Undertaker's streak. I mauled John Cena at SummerSlam. And you think you could challenge me? I'm gonna kill you for that. So, so that's my point of view on it. It's a great match that had great storytelling, in that Cena and Rollins both tried their best tricks to try to stop this guy. I mean, Cena landed 3 AAs in a row back to back because Brock kept popping up, and after the third one, he got up before a 1 count. He got thrown through a fucking barricade. He still kept getting back up, and John Cena's like, so that's what that looks like. But yeah, and that elbow drop by Seth Rollins, I will agree on Spoonie with this one, was fucking a work of art. It was amazing. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the world title match. The Rumble itself, looking back on it, there were like a few people I were interested in, but like Spoonie said, there were just a parade of losers and people I just don't care about. There were like 5 people in the whole Rumble that I actually liked. Daniel Bryan, the returning Bubba Ray, Diamond Dallas Page for the nostalgia factor, Dean Ambrose, and Cesaro, and maybe Bray Wyatt. But everyone, probably the most over people over the entire night were Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar, and Damien Mizdow. who was in the Rumble for like a minute. But everyone knew that Roman Reigns was going to win the Royal Rumble. We all knew that. It's just that we didn't believe it, because in this business, just because something is planned doesn't mean it's going to happen. Last year, they planned for Batista to come back as a big-time babyface. They planned for him to go to WrestleMania and face Randy Orton for the world title. They planned for all that. What they didn't plan for was the fans absolutely turning on it. So they had to adjust the plan. They had to turn Batista heel immediately, which they did. And they had to work Daniel Bryan into the world title match to give the fans what they wanted, or they would have shit on that main event. This is a similar situation. They planned on making Roman Reigns the next big guy, the next Cena or what have you. They planned on him getting a negative reaction. They just didn't expect it to be a Philly negative reaction. Philly is one of those smart cities. One of those cities that are not fooled. They will cheer and boo whoever the fuck they want. And they did not like it when Daniel Bryan was eliminated so damn early. And I kind of agree with them. Honestly, from my perspective, he should have been one of the final four. But as soon as he was eliminated, the fans gave no shits. They completely shit on the match. Then Roman Reigns comes out through the crowd, and he is getting booed. I mean, he was just getting booed. They poo-pooed on him like, oh my God. It was just ridiculous. So anyway, eventually Roman Reigns wins by throwing both the Big Show and Kane over the top rope. The fans still booed. Then they had to bring in The Rock. If you didn't know, Roman Reigns' cousin. Now, I knew what they were doing. They were they were doing damage control. They were trying to bring the fans back onto the side of Roman Reigns by bringing in the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. But they sorely underestimated how surly and disappointed the fans were for Roman Reigns. So much so that The Rock, the people's champion, the great one, was getting booed. We're getting backlash boos. I mean, no one was buying this shit. Not even the Admiral and Sexy Power coming out and was trying to absorb some of that heat to get it off of them. It wasn't working. So there's that. And The Rock has gone on Twitter and he has said that how he did not like the Royal Rumble and how it ended up. So why? The question is, why did the fans turn on Roman Reigns? Now, Spoonie has a good theory in that the fans didn't want to be manipulated because they were aware they were being manipulated into liking and believing that Roman Reigns was going to be the guy. That's his opinion. My opinion is they know that Roman Reigns is just not ready. He is not. And what I mean about that is, okay, we don't know who Roman Reigns is. And when I say this, we don't know what his character is like, what his personality is like. His entire gimmick right now is just leftovers from the Shield. I mean, he has the same entrance, the same sort of Strike Force uniform on, the same catchphrase, believe that, the same moves. He's okay in the ring. He's okay on the mic. But when you try to put him up to the main event level, it showcases his flaws more than his strengths. Now, the same cannot be said for Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, who have had much more better experience due to their time on the independent circuit. Now, we know who Dean Ambrose is. He is a crazy motherfucker who likes a good fight, who gives two shits about what people think about him, who doesn't care what he has to do. He's just going to beat your ass, and he will come at you from any direction. He's just crazy. We know who Seth Rollins is. He is a backstabbing little opportunist. He is a cunning little bitch who hides behind the authority, who hides behind the Big Show and Kane, who hides behind J&J Security, who has the money in the bank briefcase, who calls himself the future, who does whatever he wants to get ahead over everyone else. We know who they are. Roman Reigns is strong. That's it. But his flaws were even more on display on Monday night because they still had a show. Now, they were interviewing a lot of people from the Royal Rumble. Now, they even went so far as to go in depth on Brock. They continued to work up Brock's mystique as this beast. When they were interviewing Seth Rollins, he was like, I underestimated the beast, but the beast is underestimating me. If we fought him one-on-one, I'd fuck it up. And then Michael Cole's like, oh really? You do know that Brock Lesnar is here and he's coming out next. Well, I'm going to sit here and he's just going to have to make me move because I'm not moving. I'm the future. Brock Lesnar comes out, stares him down, and Seth gets up like a little bitch and just turns the chair over like, have a seat. I'm not mad at that because that's Seth's character. He talks a lot of shit, but about Brock Lesnar. But when he comes face to face with him, you can see the fear in his eyes. Like Brock Lesnar would maul you like a mountain lion would maul a helpless hiker, and he knows it. He's just like, I'm gonna go away now. I'm not scared of you. And ignore that trail of piss and shit following me. That's not from you. That's from something else. It's from Michael Cole. He made me piss myself because he was so ugly. And then they interviewed later on. They interviewed Roman Reigns, and I give Byron Saxon credit for actually asking these hard-hitting questions. Like, you do realize you were pretty much booed last night, and why the fans turned on you. And his answers were average, to say the best. He just went about this whole spiel about his family. This is the first time he's actually opened up and talked about his family. He is from the Aoi wrestling family. If you don't know who that is, it's a massive family of Samoan wrestlers dating all the way back to the 50s. Pretty much every major Samoan wrestler that you've ever heard of or haven't heard of is from this family. High Chief Peter Maivia, the Wild Samoans, the Head Shrinkers, Yokozuna, Rikishi, Umaga, Rosie, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Tamina Snuka, Sim Snuka, the Usos, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They're all part of this one big, massive dynasty of wrestling greatness, and this is Roman Reigns. And he talked about it, but you just didn't believe him because you don't know who Roman Reigns is. And part of that reason is because Vince McMahon writes his fucking promos, and his promos are corny as fuck. This has nothing to do with Roman Reigns, and nobody could make these promos sound good. I mean, he had him say suffering succotash. I don't even think The Rock can make suffering succotash sound cool. And this is the man who coined the phrase "fruity pebbles" and had it trending. So it just showcases you that Roman Reigns has the potential. He's just not there yet, and it is too soon for him to be wrestling in the main event against Brock Lesnar of all people. Because honestly, as much as I like Roman Reigns, I don't believe for one goddamn second that he should be fighting Brock Lesnar, nor do I believe that he should win over Brock Lesnar. And then Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out. And Paul Heyman, being Paul Heyman, decides to do the interview and shoos Michael Cole away. And what follows was like 10 minutes of auditory sex. I mean, Paul Heyman is probably the best dude on the mic in the E right now because he does a good job at making you believe anything he says. And he says, he just goes down this whole spiel about, I know your family, your father, I know your father, I know your grandparents, I knew your cousin Yokozuna, was a friend of your cousin Umaga. I know your cousin, The Rock. Remember The Rock? You know who else knows The Rock? Brock Lesnar. In 2002, Brock Lesnar challenged your cousin, The Rock, for the World Heavyweight title, and he beat him at SummerSlam, and he beat him in the rematch. Oh, I'm sorry, there was no rematch because your cousin, The Rock, the Great One, didn't want nothing more to do with Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar is just sitting there, and he has this weird look on his face, like say to the guys out there, do you remember that good piece of ass that you had, that great piece of sex from this hot chick that you remember from so many years ago? I don't know, it could be your wife, could be your girlfriend, could be someone, but just remembering how good it was, and you get that far off look, like if someone reminds you, like, yeah, I remember her. Damn, she was a great piece of ass. That's the look that Brock Lesnar had on his face. He had this look like he was literally getting off on his memories of beating The Rock. I'd have expected him to whip out his dick and just start beating off right there in the interview room, just like. And Paul Heyman's like, Roman Reigns, you see that cock? That cock belongs to the one in 21 and 1. You don't have a cock like that. That's your cock. That's Brock Lesnar's cock. Fantasy, reality. And he just cuts this promo that just shames him and gives you no indication that Roman Reigns has any chance against him. And Roman, God bless him, tries his best, but he is out of his league if he tries to come up with a promo against Paul Heyman, of all people. And he talks to Brock like, I'm going to take your title. And that's it. And just kept this whole tough guy spiel. It sounded like something that Cena would say. It was the promo that John Cena would say. And Brock just says 2 sentences. Just, I'm not like him. I don't respect you. And shakes his hand. Brock Lesnar can talk. He just doesn't need to. He can if he has to, but he doesn't need to because he has Paul Heyman at his side. Paul Heyman is just amazing. So you can be the best talker in the world, but if you have Paul Heyman on your side, you might as well shut the fuck up and let him do it, because Paul Heyman can sell you better than anything else. So this is the problem here, because everyone knows this. We're less than 60 days away from WrestleMania. And I doubt that Roman Reigns is going to improve in every conceivable area that he needs to improve on. I doubt he's going to find a gimmick that suits him. I doubt that his mic work is going to suddenly improve. I doubt that his in-ring work, which is passable, is going to go up to the level that it needs to be when you're in the ring with someone like Brock Lesnar. So that's why my personal opinion, why people turned on him. It could be other things, but this is my personal opinion. You're free to disagree with me, as long as it's an intelligent disagreement. So that's just it. Roman Reigns is not ready. As my friends on the CBR forums, Sub-Zero, Darth Joker, Dead X-Man, Legato, Alex, Big Lebo, oh, am I missing something? Iron Twister, all those guys, Guest 1001, we all can see that Roman Reigns is not ready. You'd have to be blind, deaf, and dumb to think that Roman Reigns is in any capacity ready to face Brock Lesnar. So now WWE this Blizzard bought them time, because the big test for Roman Reigns was going to be the live Raw after the Royal Rumble, because if the fans were still against him, were still going to boo him, then they were going to have to scramble to find some way to rectify the situation. Because as it stands, if they don't do something, they're gonna shit on this title match with good reason. And a lot of people, how I would do this, a lot of people are saying that they need to turn Roman Reigns heel because Brock's basically a babyface. I mean, he in the entire world title triple threat, he got the most cheers by far. So what I think they should do, someone on the CBR forums did this. If I don't know if I can't remember who did it or who suggested it, but someone suggested this. Have Seth Rollins at some point in the near future cash in on Brock Lesnar and take the belt from him. Then still have the match between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and somehow work Dean Ambrose into this. Because there's still those issues that have been left unresolved from him backstabbing Dean and Roman and basically destroying the Shield. And have an all-Shield main event. And Seth and Dean are so good in the ring and on the mic that they can kind of hide, just like they were in the Shield, they could hide Roman Reigns' inadequacies. And they could elevate this match to where it needs to be, and in turn elevate Roman Reigns to where he needs to be, because they can help him step up his game in all the areas that need to be stepped up. That is for me, that's the only way they can salvage this. But this storm is a lucky bit of chance for them. They have 1 week. 1 week to try to an extra week to try to rectify the situation. I mean, cancel WWE Network was trending worldwide after the Royal Rumble. So they know the fans are not happy with this. Hell, Byron Saxton called it out that the fans were not happy that Roman Reigns won over Daniel Bryan, who they wanted to see win. So I just hope they can rectify the situation, because it's not looking good for them and not looking good for us. So yeah. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Royal Rumble and the current situation of WWE. If you have any thoughts or opinions, as long as they're intelligent and well thought out, comment below. If you like what you see, just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Helps out a lot. So, until next time, shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good night. And you screwed, Roman Reigns.